Hello YouTube and welcome. Checkmate here, and this is going to be episode 15 in our Kerbal Space Program Let's Play series. And this episode I wanted to start preparing ourselves for some space stations. So I think if we look at the plan, here's where we are. This is what we've completed so far, along with these two relays down here. And we have to do these science stations. We need one in orbit around Kerbal, the Moon, and Minmus. And we also need one on the surface of the Moon and Minmus. Now I'd like to, before we start heading out to some other planets, I'd kind of like to consolidate our position in the Kerbal system. And I think what we'll do is we'll get these three stations in orbit around Kerbal, the Moon, and Minmus, but we'll probably wait on the surface stations. We get these three in orbit, and then I'll probably start sending some probes out to some of these other planets. But before I send up my first science station, we kind of need some more science. We have 608 right now, and if we look at our science here, there's a couple of things I would like to get before we go sending up the science labs. First of all, we've got to have the mobile science or processing lab. So that's going to require space exploration and the advanced exploration. And I would also like to grab electronics here, because this is going to be our best antenna currently for transmitting the data within the system. And I'll go over antennas a little more in the next episode when we actually start building our space station. But if I also grab this now, I can get the magnetometer boom, and I think we have at least 6 different situations where we could use this in the Kerbal system. Plus we would get this seismic accelerometer. I could probably only use it on Kerbal right now, but later when we go back to the Moon and Minmus for other things, we could bring this with us and it'd give us some more science. But if I get these three, that's going to pretty much use up, so that's going to be 300, 460, 550. We only have 608. But I would like to also have heavy rocketry before we lift the station into orbit, mainly because we unlock these heavier engines, specifically this main cell. Once we get this engine, it's going to be pretty smooth sailing getting heavier payloads up into orbit. But that's going to be another 160 in science. So I was thinking, for this episode, why don't we make a couple of trips out to space? And because I know there was more science that we can get in orbit around the Moon and around Minmus, so we want to get that. But I also want to take the opportunity to level up our scientists. We have one scientist right now that's a level 1. If we recruit another one and we can send them out, if we get them into orbit around these different bodies, it's going to level them up. I think, in fact, Bob here, I think he's only been in orbit around Kerbal, and he's level 1. Now this will matter when we have scientists on these mobile processing stations. The rate at which they can process the data is going to be dependent on their level. So the higher level they are, the faster they'll process the data. And we can have 2 in each station. So eventually we'd like to have 6 scientists just in the Kerbal system. So we're really going to have to start looking at recruiting people. So I thought we would do that this episode. I'm going to recruit another scientist, and we're going to take some trips out to the Moon and out to Minmus. collect some science, level up these scientists, at least get 2 scientists leveled up to at least level 1, maybe could get them to level 2. And then next episode we'll be pretty well situated to start our mobile science lab, at least get the first one up around Kerbal. So I guess with that all being said, let's go ahead and recruit a scientist from the list. It doesn't really matter. I don't think this courage and stupidity really affects anything. Well, it does say it has G-force tolerance is increased, science generation rate 25%. It looks like it's the same. Vessel science return 100%. I'm just comparing it high stupidity to low stupidity. They all seem to be the same numbers. G-force tolerance increases 1x. Science generation rates 25%. It's the same here. So I don't really see any difference. So it looks like the courage does affect the G-force endurance, because you see this engineer Camfield, he has a G-force endurance of 1.48x, and his G-force endurance is 1.55x. Max sustainable G 6.1, 6.0. That doesn't really make sense, because you would think higher courage would give you, or maybe it's the stupidity, maybe he's dumber so he can't take as much G's, I don't know. But if we're looking at scientists, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5 to choose from. Max sustainable, that's the only difference I see, is the G-force sustainable. 6.4, 6.0, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8. So he seems to be the best. Overthinking it. Let's just grab this one. And so we now have 2 pilots, we have 2 scientists. So I'm going to use Valentina for this next mission and maybe get her up to level 2. And we're going to bring a scientist. So let's build a science vessel capable of going out to the moon. So what do we have we can work with? Moon crew lander, moon orbiter. I don't want to use that. I should actually delete that one. We can probably modify this moon crew lander. Let's look at it. So actually I don't know, we may just start from scratch. Well, no, this has a, I've got to use the Mark II command module. Alright, so I wanted to look. I want to start getting us a library of boosters. Now this particular setup here, if we look at our weight, we're currently 74 point. just do this. This is 5.73 tons right here. So that means this lifter is capable of, I'd say it could probably lift 6 tons. Pretty easy. So what I want to do is go into our sub-assemblies. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drop it here. We're going to say booster 6.0 tons. Can lift. To low Kerbal orbit. And as we build bigger rockets, we can start building us a library of booster sections over here. And then when we're in a scenario like we are now, we can just build this section. So what I can actually do now is I can just get rid of this for now. Actually, I can get rid of all this. And we can build our cruise section, or whatever our payload's going to be, and then just go back into the sub-assembly and grab the assuming this is going to be under 6 tons, we're already at 1.5 just with this 2-man module. But that'll be easier once we build it. Once we have us a library, we see what our tonnage is, we just go and select the booster we need and we know it'll work. Okay. Actually, before I do all this, I should have gone back and got the science we need. So we were saying we wanted to get, I want this for today especially, and we might as well go ahead and grab, we need to get to here, but to get this I've got to have this, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one and that one. And that's really all that we can do. So now we'll head back, build us a science vessel, and go get some science. So to start with, we need parachutes. I'm not sure which parachute will work for this capsule. So just out of caution, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 of these on here. Don't know if we need them, but I don't want to find out after it's too late. I do have to make sure we don't block the doors, because we are going to do some EVAs. I believe this will tell me if the hatch is... Okay. It doesn't say it's blocked, so it should be good there. Now we need heat shield for this, because this will be returning. And I think we need this bigger one. And then we want to decouple, because we're not going to bring this science back with us. We're going to collect it before we re-entry. We'll use the regular service bay and a regular, and put a science junior on here, and then I'll just put a fairing. We'll just cover all that. Okay. Yeah, I think that's better. Let me open this. Then I can drop my standard round batteries in here. There's 1, 2, and then maybe can fit a reaction wheel in here. I don't think that one will fit. That's a big one. Let's just put a smaller reaction wheel in here. Alright, and then since this is going to be covered, I think we can just attach our science to the science junior maybe. Kind of put one here. I want to make sure everything's where I can collect it from without doing an EVA, just to make things easier. Science Junior, temperature probe, that I can put in here. I can put the barometer in here. And then I think I can probably put this right here. See how that looks when we extend it. Perfect. Retract that. And then, of course, let's get some lights. I like these dome lights. I think 4 works well. And I don't think we can use this in space. I think this has to be for ground science, which we can do it on the launch pad out here. So I will go ahead and put one of these on and take it at the launch pad. Now if I close that, does that, yeah. Alright, what are we missing? I guess, do we want to have a separate section for our moon encounter? So the idea is to orbit the moon and return. So that's going to be an 860 plus 310, and then give me another 310 to return. So that'll be a 1480. If I add 10% to that, so we're looking at about 1600 delta V on a upper section. And I wonder if I could do how one of those with a spark or a terrier maybe. How much delta V does that give us at vacuum? 2362. It's quite a bit. Let's see if we can make the fuel tank smaller. That's 14. I don't know if the spark would work better for this. Probably not. Nah. I could probably do a swivel. Oh, that's even worse. Let's see, I think the Terrier gave me the best. It's 345 in a vacuum. These are going to be too big. Yeah, these are all bigger. So it's going to either be the Terrier, which I think we will just go ahead and go with that. That doesn't even fit. Rocco Max, that's too big. They don't have an intermediate adapter for this thing. It's just for looks, you really don't need it, but alright, let's put the Terrier on here. Oh. Terrier's bigger than I thought. Alright, we'll just put it straight on there. So that gives me 1434. I guess the fuel tank is the problem. Really didn't want to go with the bigger tank. $19.25. Well, I guess that's what we're going with. Alright, so that upper section there, this weighs 7.6 tons. So it's a little bit above. So if I take some fuel out, can we get that down to, I don't know if we can get it down to 6 tons and still have our delta V. Because we're shooting for about 1600 delta V. Let's try that. Let's see if that booster will do 7 tons. Of course, we're going to need a decoupler, and that's going to take a little more weight. We got a little problem here with our aerodynamics. Unless we do this. Then we can build this fairing all the way up. Like that. And we can decouple the fairing and have our orbiter here. Does that change the weight that much? Man, that decoupler weighs that much? It should only be 0.09. I guess that much fairing. Well, let's see what our booster can do. We may have to add something to this. It's really not ideal. We really need a bigger fairing. I don't think I have a bigger fairing. Which one is this? This is the 1.5. Yeah, it's the biggest one I have right now. So what does that do for us? With this, I don't have enough delta V to get into orbit. So, can we go with something bigger? Let's build us a bigger ship. We can maybe take this and transition to a little smoother setup here. And guess 1, 2, 4, 5, and can we fit a main sail on there? Oh, I didn't unlock those yet, did I? We have the skipper. which does have gimbaling, and that gives me quite a bit of delta V. So that's going to give me 4,200, but our thrust to weight ratio is not good. So we're going to need something with more thrust. This is my heaviest. It's the heaviest one I have, so see what else we can do. Wonder, we had a lot of delta V. If I take some of that off, it's a pretty short rocket there though. No, so we're gonna have to have a booster. I think if we go with this, and we just need some help with the thrust to weight ratio in a vacuum. It's a little better, but we would want that number to be much higher. I thought I had a separate, thought I had one of those three-way deals. I guess not. I guess that's in another technology that I haven't unlocked yet. They have the adapter you can put on the bottom, and then you can put 3 engines on one. That's what I was looking for. See if I could do something like that to get the thrust up. Just making sure this is the best one I have in terms of thrust, and it looks like it is. Well, I guess I can put a couple of Reliant, or yeah, let's just do that. Let's get some wings on there. See if that changes it any. Okay, that's center, and that's center. So that should fly. We should still be well below our center of mass on that stage, so it should fly. And then let's get some boosters on here. and maybe just a couple of Reliant engines. Okay. Get us some nose cones, and then I want to put some bracing on. Nose cones never want to act right. There we go. What does that do for our Delta V? I'll have to adjust the staging a little here. Got these two and this one. And those will separate. We go into our upper stage. So it looks like we have this just barely got our thrust right there, 1.35. And I think I'm not gonna do the asparagus staging because I want these to burn as long as they can. Because we're gonna need that thrust until we get on up into the upper atmosphere. We get to this stage, we're looking like 1.79, I guess. So maybe that'll be good enough. So we'll burn those, we'll separate the boosters. Vacuum, this should take us out to the moon and back. And then we have our parachutes. I'm gonna actually add, we won't deploy this one unless we need it. Actually, let's do that the other way around. I want to test it and see if this one is enough. If it's not, then we'll deploy these. So, do we think this will fly? That's what engineers say. Electricity charge required but not generated. So yeah, we do need some solar panels. And what I'll do is just add the deployable. These 1x6, I just put, I guess 2 of these on here should be good. Just to keep the lights on. I like these deployable because they track the sun, so we don't have to worry about constantly positioning. Let's move these back a little bit. We don't have to worry about positioning, we can just deploy these and forget it. I just want to see, make sure it's going to work. Okay. Alright. Moon crew, science, orbiter. Two crew. Save that, and then the last thing I want to do, I just want to set up my action groups to make this easier. So we just put everything, because I'm going to be resetting all this. So we want to conduct a material study. We'll conduct the mystery goo. Fairing's in the way. Lock temperature. Lock pressure. Run magnetometer. And I'll run this, but it's not going to do anything. And we want to take a crew report. So one press of the button, we're going to do all that. Then we'll have to get out and collect it and reset these two. That should do. Now let's look at our crew. I wanted to take Valentina up this time. We don't need an engineer. I'm going to take this scientist first and see how many levels we can get on that one. Did I need any more? I didn't check the aerodynamics after I put the booster section on. I think we're good. I did want to put some struts on. I'll do struts top and bottom on the boosters. These just make everything fly better, or the takeoff is more stable when we have these on there. We don't get that movement. I'm gonna redo these wings. Then let's go ahead and put on some stability. Let's put on 2 of these so we don't tip over on the launch pad. And we'll bring this down to the ground, like so. Move these up to here, so I'll fire the engines and then I'll break these off. Then when all these are finished, separate the boosters, then that'll continue burning. By then we should be able to deploy the fairing, separate the booster section, and then this can head to the moon with its 1700 delta V. Come back to Kerbal, separate for our re-entry. We'll try the main chute first, and if that's not enough, we'll deploy these secondaries. Alright. Let's try this. See what happens. Okay, throttle up, SAS on. Let's see how this thing flies. Hopefully good. Alright, so here we are, 81 by 81. Our heading's 89 degrees, not quite 90, but we're just going to take a lap around the moon, so it's not that important. Now, I want to take the actually, let's go ahead and get the solar panels out. I think the only science that we need to get, I'm going to go ahead and do everything that we can, so I can get this material study and getting a crew report here. Don't need the temperature, don't need that. We can get a little more mystery goo. The magnetometer didn't come out though. Guess I need to have this open for it to be able to do that. Let's extend, well, let's just run magnetometer report. I think you get a pretty good bit of science off of these. Oh yeah, 36. So we'll take that and I can retract, and what I'll do is I'll EVA. Oh, the scientist leveled up just by going into orbit. So that's good. Let's EVA and collect the science. Hopefully I can just get it all from here. He can't reach. So I'll have to EVA that one. I was hoping to be able to just do these from attached there. I can't even reach these. Oh, I didn't have any. All I had was mystery goo and the material and then the magnetometer room. I guess this, yeah, nothing we can do. Well, I don't think I can do anything with this. Log seismic data, scan, can't be done right. It has to be on the surface somewhere, which is what I figured, but okay. So let's spacewalk. I hit my space bar to let go, turn on my RCS. And then let's just get up here. Collect, well. Download data. Collect data. Restore. And then we want to get here, collect data. Can I restore it from here? Alright. So I've restored all those. Just to see EVA report. I don't know that there's anything to grab here. So I want to collect data because I think I did get a crew report or something, and then store. Alright, let's board back up. So that's low Kerbal orbit, and what I want to do before we leave, we get out past 250, and we'll do all that in high orbit before we go to the moon. But we need to get our moon encounter. It's probably looking at about here. If we add a maneuver. I know I have not separated yet, but we're going to use the fuel we've got to go ahead and make our maneuver. That's too close. 18 should be close enough to get the near moon science. Perfect. Alright, let's get ourselves a little distance off of Kerbal. Let's see if we can do that other science now. So this should be considered high above Kerbal. Look at the crew report. High over Kerbal, yep. Alright, so I'm just going to press 1 and see what all we get here. So material study, magnetometer report. Crew report has nothing, temperature is nothing, and pressure is nothing. So we just need to collect the goo, the material, and the magnetometer again. Maybe, I don't know if I've done an EVA report out this far. Yeah, apparently I have. Okay. Download data. Let's let me do that one. Man, I really wish I could just get that from here. I hate EVAs. It's going to collect, restore. See, it let me get that, so I don't need that one. Collect, restore. So that should be everything. Grab, store, and board. Alright, best spacewalk yet. Now let's get ourselves out here and do it again. We'll be high above the moon. Man, I love those solar panels. I don't have to worry about them anymore. With the auto tracking, I don't have to worry about positioning the ship every time I move. Okay. Now let's do it again. I should turn the lights on. I haven't had the lights on this whole time. Seismic scan can't be done. Let's see what else we can get. So magnetometer, 72 science, great. A little bit of mystery goo, and then the material study was pretty good. Guess the crew report has already been done out here. Oh, or either it took it. EVA, guess we've already done the EVA as well. Download the magnetometer data. Collect and restore. Collect and restore. Alright. Store everything. Board up. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. Man. I have those experiments now that I should, the little experiment kit I can bring. I'll have to remember to do that when we go to Minmus. Oh well, let's get our capture. I'm just going to do the same thing with Minmus. I'm just going to go out and do a science run. And probably bring the other scientist. so we can get 2 of them leveled up. And then the episode after that, we should be good to go with the science lab. I think I'm going to have to leave it there because my periapsis is dropping. I started that burn a little late. That's fine, we can get the science from here. Magnetometer of 108, that's good. Some goo and some material study. So again, we already have the crew report for this, and the temperature and the pressure. I wasn't sure, I just wanted to bring it just in case. Yeah, it looks like we already have it. EVA has already been done as well. Alright, let's go down here. Let's repeat. Alright, well that's all we can do out here. So we'll close all these up. Let's start looking at heading back home. 1261. So I guess we could let's see what happens here. I've got enough delta V if I need to correct this inclination. I'll just make sure I can get a maneuver on Kerbal. Yeah, we'll be good. Let's get it down to about 30. Got to figure out what altitude is going to be best for our science stations. If anybody has any recommendations, just let me know in the comments. I'm thinking about something around, I think you go from low to high somewhere around 250 kilometers. So I was thinking about doing something where I could easily move in and out between the two different areas. So I could take science from one and then push out a little bit and take science from the other one. But I don't know if that's going to be efficient or not. The other option is going to be we'd have to collect the science in the one zone and bring it back to the station. So I don't know. We got to think about it. If anybody has any ideas, let me know. But after the next episode, that's what we'll be working on, I think, is going for that science station. I need to separate before we hit the atmosphere here. Almost waited a little too late on that. There goes the... Boom. Alright, so I want to see what this first parachute can do. Get a little closer. Might have to be pretty quick with it. I think that's good. I think we just need to be below 10, right? 10 or 12. I think these can take 12 or so. Yep. Outstanding, so we don't have to bring those other parachutes anymore. $400 science. Very good. So now we'll be able to get our heavy rocketry. So that's it for this episode. Like I say, the next episode we'll do the same thing. We'll go out to Minmus, and let me see. I think I have these little science experiment. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, there they are. EVA experiment kits. So I'll bring that with us when we go out to Minmus and get a little more science. We can actually do this in 4 different locations, or maybe 5. We can do one on the launch pad here on Kerbal too. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to keep up with my progress here, and we'll see you in episode 16.